She's affirming on a guy whose ex has a key, a bedroom, a lease, in the basement of the house they shared for almost a year. Not they used to date, not she comes around sometimes. The ex lives there, pays rent there, sleeps 40 feet below the man our subject is affirming on. And she drops this. Ex, evicted. No technique, no moonwater, no vision board with a moving truck on it. Just that. Cold. Deadpan. Like someone who already knows how the case ends before the evidence arrives. This is that case. This is that case. 3 things she couldn't control. The ex. The lease. The man's decision. 1 thing she could. Who she decided to be. No contact with the ex. No power over the lease. No vote on what he does next. Just the one variable that mattered, and she held it. Identity. Success loads clean, he wants to be with her. Failure is one reaction. 1 midnight check on the basement light, 1 "you okay" text, and the file corrupts. This isn't a technique battle. It's identity versus the 3D, and the 3D always loses. Months 1 through 4, nothing moves. The ex's car is in the driveway. The basement light is on. He's not looking for a relationship right now. The 3D is frozen, static, totally unbothered by her decision. Of course it is. The printer doesn't update the moment you change the file. There's always a lag. She holds the mantra. Mostly. Then comes the night that almost breaks it. 3 a.m. Blue light, the only light in the room, painting the walls that flat hospital color. Her eyes sting from the brightness. Dry. Scratchy. She hasn't blinked in what feels like 10 minutes. She's 47 weeks deep into the 3 Ps tagged photos. Cross-referencing timestamps. Zooming into a brunch photo from 8 months ago, hunting for his car in the background. Squinting at a toaster reflection, heart doing this quick little flutter because for half a second, it looks like his kitchen. It's not his kitchen. It's nobody's kitchen. It's a toaster. Thumbs still scrolling. Jaw tight. Shoulders up near her ears. And then the screen goes dark for a second, just long enough, and she sees her own face in it. Tired. Dry-eyed. Feeding the glitch at 3 a.m. like it's a part-time job. She's not the admin right now. She's a user, panicking at a loading screen, refreshing a page that was never going to load faster because she stared at it. I'm the admin. Why am I watching a deleted file? Phone. Drawer. Done. She goes back to bed in the identity of the only woman in the house. 1 ruling before she sleeps. Ex, evicted. Month 6. He starts texting her during basement hours. Small. Measurable. She doesn't celebrate. She just nods. She already knew the loading bar would finish. Then the simulation stops being quiet. Month 7. He walks in with a grocery bag. She's at the table when he sets it down, and she sees it. The ex's favorite snacks. Same brand. Same flavor. Scaled data. The system pulling a file it never cleared from memory, still rendering it into the cart like the ex never left. Like the download never got the memo. First ping. Nothing more. She takes a slow sip of iced coffee. Doesn't rush it. Doesn't look at the bag twice. This is high latency. That's all this is. A server still loading last year's page because nobody force refreshed the connection, still serving the old file to a house that's already been rewritten. She sets the cup down like she's got somewhere better to be. Ex? Evicted. Not loud. Not angry. The way you close an app that's been frozen for 10 minutes. 1 tap. Stamped. Filed. Closed. Month 8. She drives past the house. Yes, that happened. At night, the basement light is on at 2 a.m. and she can see it from the street. That thin yellow line under the window frame, warm and specific and impossible to misread. High latency again. The system's still buffering a render. Nobody asked it to keep loading. Second ping. Getting closer. She catches herself in the rearview mirror. fixes her hair, looks at her own face the way someone looks at a person they respect, not a person checking up on anything. X? Evicted. She drives home, doesn't look back, doesn't check the mirror twice. The same month, he tells her directly, I don't want a relationship right now. Sitting across from her. Clear sentence. Eye contact. The 3D using his mouth to run its last cached argument. The one it's been holding on to since month 1. Third ping. Louder now. She stares at him. Not with anger, not with tears sitting behind her eyes waiting to fall, but the way you stare at a screen throwing an error message in a language your computer stopped supporting 3 years ago. Audio driver error. She doesn't hear NPCs. X, evicted. Stamped. Filed under closed. Month 9. He brings her up himself. Says the 3P is going through things. Doesn't elaborate. Fourth ping. Last one before the drop. She nods. Doesn't spike, doesn't lean forward, doesn't ask a single follow-up question. Just nods the way someone nods when they're watching a loading bar they installed themselves. They already know what it's downloading. They just have to let it run. Because here is the mechanic, and it's fast, so pay attention. She wasn't doing techniques this whole time. She wasn't forcing anything. She was simply being the version of herself for whom the basement was already empty. That identity had no room in it for a 3P. No slot in the mental architecture for woman downstairs. So the 3D, which only ever materializes what the identity holds, had one job left. Catch up. Month 12. The 3P finds someone else. Moves out fast. Not a slow fade, not a gradual thing. A hard cut, like the universe finally read the eviction notice and stopped arguing with it. The basement clears. The key goes back. The car leaves the driveway and doesn't come back. The evicted command executes. He texts her the same week. Not eventually, the same week. They start hanging out and the house has one person in it now. She isn't confused about what that means. A new affirmation loads clean. He wants to be with me. The impossible. She affirmed on a man whose ex paid rent in his basement. 12 months later, the house has one less person in it and one new name in his attention. 40 feet. That's what it was back at the start. 40 feet between her and the woman downstairs. 40 feet. The basement was 40 feet away. The identity was a universe away. No technique won this case. A decision did. The 3D just took 12 months to catch up to a file that was already closed. 3 things. Fast. Physical proximity is lagging software. The 3P in the basement was never proof of anything, except a file that hadn't finished printing yet. The 3D doesn't get a vote. You do. The mantra is a ruling, not a request. X? Evicted. Didn't ask the universe for permission. It told the admin what was already true, and rulings don't beg. They don't repeat themselves for comfort. They stand, and the file updates around them. The year wasn't a wait. It was a render. 12 months of the system catching up to an identity that refused to blink first. Your 3P doesn't need to move out for you to already be the one they move out for. Identity first. Basement second. Always in that order, never the other way around. The ex wasn't living in his basement the longest. She was living in yours. Every zoomed photo. Every 3 a.m. scroll. Every toaster that almost looked like his kitchen. That's not checking. That's rent. Free rent paid in your own attention to someone who doesn't even live there anymore. The hardest eviction was never downstairs. It was upstairs. Do you see that? X, evicted.